All right. First off, thank you to everybody for joining this time and expense training. This is going to be your first opportunity at taking a look at the new system. So today we're going to be walking through on how to do our timesheets from an employee perspective. So everybody who's an employee needs to do their timesheet, and this is the new system that we'll be doing it in. I know when you think about timesheet training, it's like, wow, timesheet, so exciting. I get that. And that's okay. But I need you to pay attention through the entire video because we're going to cover some really important aspects of how to record your time, how to save things as favorites. You're going to notice that coming from the old time and expense system, a lot of this information is going to look very similar to you. However, things may be in a different location. So with that said, I want you to keep in the back of your mind that there's not a whole lot changing as far as your process is concerned. You're still going to log in. You're still going to record your time on a daily basis. All the policies and the procedures that you currently have in place still apply. Nothing is changing other than the system that we're inputting our time. So with that in mind, I want to point your direction to this login page that we have here. You should have already received an email with a document on the link to this site, as well as instructions on how to go through your timesheet and some of the additional features within the timesheet, all within that document. Kind of a quick user guide to help you get up to speed. So if you don't have that document or have not seen that document, please reach out to the accounting team so they can provide that to you. Any questions about the process? And the only thing that is changing is the system. Any questions on the document if you haven't received it?
David, the only thing I want to point out, this is Craig, is that we have opened up cost points time and billing system for this pay period. And my understanding is you can go in there and play around and add your time. I don't want to use that word play around too callously here, but you can go in and enter your time on a trial basis. I would only request that you put it in the exact same way it goes into GCS. That way there's no inconsistencies should it not get written over.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, yes, you should be able to log in at this very moment and go in, and after this training, you now have a little bit, you'll have more knowledge to go in and actually do something on your timesheet and make sure everything you need is there. And if you're missing something, this is a great opportunity for you to let us know that if you're missing something, we can get it added to your timesheet so it's ready for you come Monday the 15th. All right? So the first thing we're going to take a look at here is this login page. This is it looks a little bit different than what you're used to. One of the biggest differences is this system is actually part of the accounting system now. So when we log in here, you're literally logging into the accounting system. So no longer is it just a third-party website like it currently is, but now it's physically part of the accounting system. So we're going to log in using the new version, and your document that you receive should have this already in place and all the instructions and what you need to put in the criteria section down here below. So we're going to use new version. We're going to use the username that was provided to you, the password that was provided to you. I like selecting the Remember Me box because Remember Me will keep my login ID, as well as all the additional criteria that is hidden in the background right now. I want to check this box to show me the system name and the application. So one of the first things I'm going to do is put in the system name. Now, when we go to log in, it's going to be the config system, CFG, okay? This is the system you will be logging into prior to 7/15 to ensure that everything is in place for you, as of 7/15 to make sure that you do your time on a daily basis at that point in time. For this training, I am going to work in the test system. The reason for that is so I can do approvals later on without having to log into an actual user's account. So I'm going to be logging into the test system. You will be logging into the config system. The other little fun fact is there's this application here. And if you want to automatically navigate to your timesheet upon login, put in TMM timesheet. So this is what your screen should look like. user ID, your password, the system name should be CP-MKL-CFG for config. The application ID is going to be TMM timesheet. Once you've populated all this information, you can then click the login button, and it will automatically navigate you directly to your timesheet. Any questions on initial login?
So this wasn't working yesterday down on the base. Is it, as far as the top windows that pop up on the screen, is that now available? Or is that something that Newick is stopping from coming up? Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it in the afternoon or?
Yep.
All right, I'll try it again.
So yes, it should be up and running for you in the config system. Everybody does have their seat as of now. Everyone should have a login ID. There's a few people that do not at this point in time, but you will have access here shortly. If you're one of those people, please reach out. All right, so no questions on initial login. That's great. Let me close out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Initial login, won't it force us to change our password?
It will. Let me pause the video for a moment.
Can we use special characters?
Yes.
It
Yes.
requires you to,
I already changed my.
it'll have a requirement pop up. Oh, it
Let me
didn't.
pause the video and I'll give you an example of what it looks like. So the question was, when I log in, is it going to ask me to change my password? Yes, this is what it will look like. Okay? When you click login for the first time, if your account is marked to force the password change, you will have to put in a new password. Special characters are available to use, yes. If I'm not mistaken, it does require that. Oh, okay. This is a different one. All right, let me try it now.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, you will have, it'll say your password expired. You'll have to log in with a new password. Click log in after you change your password. All right, and then it'll bring you to your timesheet. Now, this is a good representation of what you're going to see in your system. You, as an employee, you will only see time and expense. You will only see time, expense, and configuration. You will see these three, but you won't see everything under configuration. You'll see manage my desktop, and that's the only thing you'll see. Under expense, you'll see expense authorizations and reports. And then under time, you'll see timesheets, manage timesheets, and manage work schedule will be the only options you'll see as an employee. So I'm going to hop back out of this and go back into my original one. Okay. And the thing I wanted to show you with your initial login, without using TMM timesheet, this will bring you to the home page of the accounting system. So this is one of the very few times you'll see the accounting system. With that said, we want to work within time and expense. So under time and expense, that'll be the only thing you see available. You'll see time, timesheets, and then you can go to manage timesheets. It's very similar to the old system where you used to have the tabs up at the top to navigate between time and expense. It's kind of the same thing. Now you have time and expense here versus up here at the top. Does that make sense?
Yep. Hey, David, just to be clear, when I configure it, they're only going to be able to have that one module like they currently do. If you're a supervisor, you'll have a little more options. If you're an administrator, you'll have more options. Me, Brenda, Craig will have the accounting features. The FAs will have contracts, so on and so forth. But as an employee and a supervisor, they're only going to see time and expense.
That is correct.
Okay, just to be sure. You only have one option. Even if they don't put the application in?
Yes, even if you don't put the application in, you're only going to see time and expense.
Because I'll configure it that way.
Okay, so the security settings are already in place, so when you log in, that's what you can expect to see. All right, so under timesheets, manage timesheets is where we navigate over to the timesheet. Beautiful. Now that we are back to our timesheet, let's talk about what this actually looks like. The first thing you're going to notice is it does look a little bit different, but it's very similar to the old system. One of the first things I noticed is that the signature is no longer at the bottom. It's now up here at the top. And there's a button over here to sign it. The approval is also moved from the bottom up to the top, but I still have my employee name, my ID, the frequency, the last day of the period, and the status. Notice my status says open. Well, one of the reasons I like you to use TMM Timesheet is because it's going to let me know that you were successfully able to log in. If I come and take a look at your timesheet and it's in an open status, that means you logged in successfully. However, if it's missing, I know you haven't logged in at all. So when you log in, it will automatically change your timesheet from missing to open. Okay? Now, in the old system, you'd actually have to save something to do that. In the new system, you just have to go into this screen, and it'll put it into an open status. All right, the next thing is we still have our class. We have charge favorites down here, P-type summary, leave. If I want to check my leave balance, I could check my leave balance right here. Pay type summary gives me a total of all of my pay types that I used on my timesheet. We'll take a look at that a little later. And charge favorites is a quick view of all of my favorites that I have saved. And we'll go over how to add those to my timesheet. One other thing I want to point your attention to is the ability to navigate, just like in the old system, between your previous and your future timesheets. You can use the arrows to go back and forth and navigate. But if you don't want to use this view and you decide, you know what, I want something maybe a little simpler for me, I can click on Table and it'll change the view from the form view to a table view. All right? Does that make sense? Going back to form view, and that puts it back to where I was. Up at the top, you have a couple buttons here. You have a Save button, a Save and Continue button, a Refresh button, which refresh will bring you back to where you originally started prior to your entries. So the last saved place on your timesheet. So if I put in a charge code and I completely host it up, instead of trying to delete it all, because I have not yet saved it, I can hit the refresh button and it will put it back to my last saved position. The Save and the Save and Continue buttons, I want to highlight and inform you that I always use Save and Continue. And the reason for that is if I was working in my April 7th timesheet and I made a change and I hit the Save button, it will always bring me back to the most recent record. So to save you that headache, I always recommend you use Save and Continue. All right. Any questions on the header section of the timesheet before we start actually adding charge codes? All right, very good. So, one other thing you're going to notice is that this timesheet is broken into two sections. You have the timesheet header section and you have the timesheet line section. In the timesheet line section is where we're going to record our time. So, with the new system, you have to physically click on New on the timesheet lines row. If you click New up here at the top, this will create a future timesheet. So we don't want to use this, but rather we want to use the new button down below. So I'm going to hit the refresh button to take me back to where I was. Okay? Now, So we want to hit our new button on the timesheet lines row.
David, hang on, you're frozen. Never mind, it's working now.
Okay. So once I click the new button, this should look pretty similar to you. Now you're picking still your charge code. You're picking your labor category. Well, the labor category should follow, and you're picking your pay type. So just like the old system, you hit the magnifying glass instead of a binocular, and you still have a charge tree to come down and pick from. So I can go to my indirect, and I'm going to use GNA for this example. Highlight my GNA corporate code and hit select. That populates my charge code on my timesheet. If there was a PLC link to that, my PLC would populate as well. So at this point, I can start entering in my time just like I did in the old system. I still have the comments here that I can leave from my supervisor. And that little comment still stays there. I want to add a new charge code. Maybe I know what that charge code is. I can start typing it, and it'll give me options that are available to me. So I know this is my holiday code, so I can select that, and I'm going to charge my holiday on the 4th. Maybe I said, you know what, I took off Friday for PTO. So I'm not
David, let me just say something real quick because I'm sure people are like, oh my God, this looks different. So obviously you can figure out holiday, vacation by looking at it, but just be aware the charge numbers are going to look different, but the description is still going to be there. So you should know what your description is. And if you look at a previous time card, you can add it to your favorites. And if you have any question about what your charge code should be, just ask your FA or your supervisor because they are a lot longer now. For anyone that knows, it includes like clims and slims. That's how we have to report everything. So it's not going to be a short 4 digits and 3 digits. It's a lot longer, but your description should be exactly the same as it was. So just make sure you check to make sure it's the right one and ask if you have questions. But having said that, you are going to be assigned to the workforce like you normally are, so you should only be able to see what you're supposed to use.
So we should just check the brief sheet.
Just check the brief, yeah. And if your employees have questions, just because they're going to look a little different in here. Like if you see on the screen, like this is the 0013 contract, Jim. So like it looks a little different, but on the far left, it still has what the charge description is.
Are we going to have our history?
It will soon. We don't have everything. We only have uploaded through April right now, but we're working on it. So, but like I said, if you have any questions, just ask your supervisor or your FA. All right? All right. Thanks, David.
Absolutely. Thank you for adding that. All right. So I don't want this line, so I'm just going to simply highlight it and hit the delete button, and I'll have this red X here, and it'll go away. Now that I've entered my time for this week, I'm going to go ahead and save and continue because I want to save the timesheet that I have. I don't have enough holiday hours. Where is it now? There we go. Put that down. So I went ahead and saved my timesheet. And just like in the new system or the old system, you're going to just complete your time against whatever it is you worked. So complete this out through 7/12. And now that I've completed it, I can save and continue.
Craig, did you ask questions?
Yep.
In real time, so that
I'm sorry, what was the question?
that pop up, not approved?
Nope, because I have it configured in the system to go -40. So if you're over -40,
right?
yes,
If you go
yeah.
-41, it will come up.
I believe so. I'm not completely sure, but basically that far left is line level. So for all the direct numbers, they'll all say pending. Vacation, there's nothing there because it comes off of your balance, so no one has to approve that really. but holiday says approved, well, because he doesn't have anything there. I approved a holiday, so it'll say pending. All the ones that have line level approvals will say pending, pending, pending. And I believe it'll give you, even if it doesn't say pending, it'll give you an error and will not let you enter it.
Go over.
Yep, so you can go into the -40, but if you try to go more, it will not let you even enter it.
Right. So here I
Yep.
have, see, just like the old system, it still pulls it from your balance.
And show them where you're pulling those from, those two new screens.
That's under the Leave button. So when I click the Leave button and click on Vacation, there's my vacation. So I started out with 41 hours and I used 32 of them, therefore I have 9 left. So this is real time. As soon as I save it, it deducts it. All right, let me show you the pay type summary. So here's my total of my hours that I have on my timesheet. Comes in handy when reviewing for overtime. Okay. Also, taking a look at holiday. Do I have 8 hours or 16 hours in a period? Maybe someone charged holiday incorrectly. It's a quick and easy way to review to make sure all holiday hours are captured. And last but not least, let's add...
Hey, David, you might be frozen again.
Okay.
Hang on. No, that's me. I was trying to get rid of this right here. Oh, there it goes. All right.
Okay, now we're working.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to click on the line that I want to call my favorite and simply hit Add Line to Favorites. Come to Charge Favorites, and now it's there. If I want it to automatically populate on a future timesheet, I hit the Load button and Save and Continue. Now, when I go to create a future timesheet, that charge code will automatically populate on that future timesheet. If I'm done with that charge code and the period of performance expired, I can simply highlight it and delete. Save and Continue. Now that is no longer under my favorites and no longer will automatically populate. Any questions on charge favorites?
So if it's not saved or charged favorite, when you open up the new timesheet, nothing will show up.
Correct. You have to re-enter.
Click over.
Well, no, the old system's the same way. If you don't have anything saved in your favorites, it won't pre-populate.
Right. All right, so it's the end of the pay period. I need to sign my timesheet. All I need to do is simply come over to Sign and click the Sign button. It gave me a warning saying, hey, you don't have any holiday hours recorded for July 4th. That's okay. I'm going to click OK. And it saved my timesheet. I signed my timesheet, and it created a Warnings tab that tells me what warning I had at that point when I signed my timesheet. So no longer are you going to get warnings that pop up, you click OK, and then you don't remember what they are. Now they're saved against your timesheet with an audit trail of what that warning or what that warning was when you saved your timesheet or when you signed your timesheet. So,
Hey, David, I see a password window pop up. That's no longer there when you go to sign?
that is correct. There's no longer a password window that pops up. All you need to do, you've already logged in through to the system, into the accounting system, and using a password, so they got rid of that password for the new Time and Expense 10 system. At this point, I'm done with my timesheet. Pretty straightforward.
David, let me add one thing. There's a lot of people with overtime. You probably figured it out, but you see the pay type, it's exactly like the old system. You would just go in there and change your whatever you need to do. Same thing that you have to create a new line. So you can have your regular line and then your overtime line. And it'll show up the same way on the side. And when you do that pay type, summary, like you said, it should show you your separate hours.
Because I made a change by adding that overtime line to my timesheet, I need an explanation. Let's not do this, okay?
Yeah, made a change. Yeah, need
a change, don't do. Okay, please put a valid explanation in.
Is the policy still the same that for every 40?
Nothing's changed. Yep, same thing.
Right.
The only other thing I want to point out, can you close out of that?
Absolutely.
Just that one. The PLC, so it's changed a little. That's your labor category. It's the project labor category is what that means. So he doesn't have any direct numbers charging on here right now, but let's say you have one on there, it will auto-populate like the old system. So you just need to verify that's what you think it's supposed to be based on, you know, what it's supposed to be. And similar to the old system, you know, I've threatened people with, if there's a direct number and it has 01, like right now it says 01, that means a default. So the default now is nothing. So make sure there's something in there if you're charging direct, all right? And if it's wrong, if you think it's wrong, let your SA know and we can fix that too. But you always have to have a category in there when you're charging a direct number. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So here's your example of that. We pick the charge code and the PLC follow. Again, I'm not going to save this because I'm not set up for line level approving for this timesheet. So I'm going to refresh this. And now I have my timesheet. When I look at my pay type summary, I now have my overtime pay type there as well. Also, because I made a change, the revision audit came up. That was not there before. So as soon as I made a change and put an explanation, it tells me who made the change, when they made the change, what they changed, for what charge code. The thing we don't know is why you made a change. That is why we ask for a valid explanation. Okay? To 6 months from now, we don't want an auditor coming around saying, hey, why did you change it from this LCAT to another LCAT? And you're going to go, I don't know. That's what the explanation's for. Okay?
Dave, I don't know if you can answer it or if it's more Ginger. Have the pay type codes changed at all? Are they still the same?
No.
Like time for Sunday, or so all the codes are going to be still the same?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. With that in mind, we'll go ahead and re-sign the timesheet. By signing the timesheet, you're certifying hours were incurred on the charging day specified in accordance with company policy and procedures. Okay. So, with that warning again, I didn't have holiday on the 4th. That's okay. Saved it. We're good to go. My timesheet is now signed, and it's off to my supervisor for approval. At this point, I'll open the floor to any additional questions in regards to employees completing their timesheet.
I do have a question. This is regarding leave. So now, this will be through the system with the approved or not. Is that going to be working here? So,
You mean requesting leave?
right, so then it shows up on the timesheet.
Yep.
Approved, not
David,
approved.
I believe you're gonna do an example of how to request your leave, correct?
Absolutely. That's exactly where I was going next. Fantastic question.
So green again.
It'll highlight again. Yeah.
I got one question. So I know that you went all the way to the 12th, but in used vacation. Is the system still set up like the old one where it will allow you to enter future hours if it's not vacation or holiday?
I believe so.
You're 100% correct again. So that's the reason for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I put in my vacations because I cannot charge into the future.
A direct number or an NBS.
Right? Only when I leave can I charge into the future.
Vacation time?
40 hours.
That's it?
Huh?
You can only go 40 hours. Okay.
If it's more than 40, can you go in and if they get prior approval?
So you have 2 weeks.
I mean,
I believe I can adjust it, yeah.
okay.
I'll do that on a case by case because it configures for the whole I can't configure one employee, so it would have to be, I basically let you save your time card, then I go fix it again. But it doesn't really happen that often.
Yep.
But I have it set up where you can go in the whole reporting.
David, this is Palomina. Since the project setup looks a little different, can you show the employees how to look up their available project list?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll add the new line, hit the magnifying glass. If it's a direct project, I'll see my direct here. My leave will be under indirect, under my PTO vacation here. And I'll see all the leave that's available to me. For my directs, I'm going to navigate back up to my charge lookup here. Click under direct. I see that I have them assigned to this charge code. So I can drill down and pick the charge code that I need. I need my TI 97 labor 7701 AC. And this is the charge code itself and the labor category that's linked to that.
Does it give you an error if you accidentally delete something?
David, will it give an employee an error if they pick the ODC number?
You shouldn't see that. This is the test system. The ODC numbers will only be available for expense.
Yeah.
But if
I
you
believe
see an ODC number, please let the accounting team know so we can get that removed.
Between direct and indirect.
You guys are just direct. Indirect is us, like we charge G&A, overhead, stuff
We're
like
indirect.
that. You're direct.
We're direct, okay.
You're only indirect when we do like a training like this, like I'll send everybody an email that says,
Okay.
for this training, charge this number.
Okay,
So
thank
we
you.
should get that training, that number?
I'll set you up afterwards, yeah.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Here's a good example. This is an error, okay? An error will not allow me to continue. It's saying that I added this new line, but this information's missing. That's okay. I just want to delete it. Or this would be a great example to use the refresh button. And I always refresh all, and it brings me back to my most current record.
Oh, you made an error.
If you click on the arrow line, because you're not sure what the description is, if you click on the arrow line, it will highlight exactly where the error is.
Exactly. So if I click on this, it'll tell me where my problem lies. Now, account, you don't see that because we're hiding that. You don't have to worry about that. But the project and the pay type, it'll take you right to the places you need to fix. Again, warnings will let you continue. We've gone over how to save something to our favorites and how to remove it. We've gone over signing our timesheets. And at this point, we can go over how to submit a leave request. Any other questions on your timesheet? Also, we have it set up so that you will receive a notification when you sign your timesheet as a verification to you. And supervisors will get an email saying, hey, your employee signed their timesheet. Okay? All right, so if no other questions on timesheets, I'll go ahead and close out by hitting this X button here, and it'll navigate me back to my menu. If I want to log out of the system, I can hit the power button up here in the top right to log out. Okay? Let's go to manage work schedule. So as an employee, manage
Hang
work
on, David. Can you do, if for the supervisors that need to approve timesheets while we're on timesheets?
I was going to do a separate supervisor approval training video.
Oh, okay.
So let's go to manage work schedules. And it looks a little bit different than the old system, but let's say I want to go to take a day off in August, right? Notice that only the current month is available down here in my scheduled work days. Monday through Friday are scheduled work days. Saturday and Sunday are non-work days. 4th of July is marked off as a holiday. So if I wanted to take a vacation in August, I can go to month and year and put in a day within August and hit the lightning bolt, which is now your execute button. Okay? So we hit the execute button and it updates my calendar. At this point, I simply come to the day I want to take off by clicking on it and going to edit date properties. 8/16, and I want to request leave for that day. 8 hours and any notes I want to give to my supervisor. PTO. At this point, I simply save and continue, and that day is now a pending leave day. Let's go to the 5th of July. Update my calendar. Go to the 5th. Request leave. 8 hours. Save and continue. And that day is now a pending leave day. So when I go to my timesheet...
Stop time doesn't matter?
I'm sorry?
Stop time doesn't matter?
No, start-stop time does not matter. That's used for time in, time out function, which we're not using in your system. So, no, it does not have an impact.
All right, thanks.
When I come to my timesheet, that day should highlight as red, that it's a pending leave day.
You can still go to 1 hour.
When approved, it goes what color?
Green.
Yep, once it's approved, it will then go to green.
This is almost exactly the same as the old system, except it just, the look is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it does the same, has the same function.
If you already have leave Deltec days in the future, will that be ported over to this new system? Or do we have to
Nothing got ported over. So none of your old historical timesheets came over into the new timesheet system. This is a from-scratch new system.
Your leave balance will, but your request will.
Let me talk about your leave balance for a moment, because your leave balance that you currently see in the system, Ginger, we could talk about this offline, but I don't know if you want to show it until we bring over the live database or not. But we probably do to ensure the rules are in place. But just so you are all aware, your balances will be incorrect as we are working on an old converted database that's a few months old. So please be mindful when you're taking leave within the next, probably from the 15th to the 22nd. We want to be mindful that you're not using too much leave. So as supervisors, please pay attention to that as you're going through the leave. If you see someone submit a leave request or use PTO, review their PTO balance in the old system until we get everything updated in the new accounting system. Does that make sense?
So if somebody has an approved leave and then they change their mind, you know, they
That's a great
Decide
question.
to work
rejected it, yeah,
You can go delete your leave.
just delete.
You click on
I believe you can.
and hit delete and save and continue, and it goes right back to a normal work day.
Okay, great, thanks.
Here, I'll show that process again here on that August 15th.
But will the timesheet let you, because in the old system, you could override it, even if it was approved?
I think so.
Right, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can. It's just, the green, it's more just for the supervisor, I think.
Right.
It doesn't say you can't or can. I think it's the same way now. It's just more so you can notify supervisors.
Absolutely.
Changes to limit, it's the same way.
It's the same, okay.
Great. Any questions on requesting leave?
David, can you show us, if you pay, separately, or can you do a consecutive pay at once?
If you want to take a whole week, David, to show.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so, no, you do have to do individual days. But what you can do is navigate between the days here, or you can use the table view. I'm not a fan of the table view. I don't think it's very attractive. But you could technically highlight all of these by hitting the control button on your keyboard and clicking on the days and then hit request leave.
Can you hit the table view so they can see that?
Yeah, that's down here at the bottom. So this is the form.
Oh, I think you froze. You froze.
Ginger, I think it's you that are freezing. That didn't come out right.
There we go.
All right, so here's the form view. Here's the table view. I highlighted each one of these, okay, and I hit the request to leave button. That then populates and allows me to put in my leave hours. Okay.
I like the table.
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't. It's really a preference thing. I'm not going to break anything by switching between the two. So
just don't forget to hit save. That's the kicker on this one. You have to hit save.
Yep.
It's up top. Yep. And I believe it's not highlighted, but on the far left one is just save. The one with the arrow is save and continue, so it'll keep you on your same screen. Yeah. That's what I kept doing. I forget to hit save and then you lose it.
All right, fantastic questions. Any others on leave?
Yes, one more. For and this, you may push this off to the supervisor portion, but for the supervisors, are we going to be able to see, like,
yes, to answer your question,
table with multiple people's on one
yes,
screen?
You will. You will be able to see that under Manage Resource Work Schedules, which employees do not have access to. And I'm going to talk about that in the supervisor training. Yep.
Are we not doing that later?
Huh?
Are we not doing that right now? We're doing another day, because we have a lot.
No. He's just videoing this, and then he's going to do it right after.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
He's just doing this video to the employees, and then he's doing
the
the supervisor. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Any questions on timesheets? Logging in, saving things as your favorite, making changes, signing it. Everybody still awake?
Yeah.
All right, very good. That concludes then my employee training, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of this video here, that screen, and I'm going to hit the power button up here in the top right to log out of the system. And at this point, I am done as an employee. I've gone in, I've logged in with the credentials provided, I've used the charge codes I needed to use, I've saved them, I checked my leave balances and so forth, signed my timesheet, and it's off to my supervisor for approval. At this point, we're going to talk about the supervisor video. So to all the employees, thank you very much. If you don't need to see the supervisor training, you're more than welcome to sit down.
Not today, no.
Yeah, please go ahead. I have the video still recording.
So I logged in, and a bunch of our guys have, and it shows missing up as a status, so it doesn't give you the opportunity to perform any of the actions on that screen.
This is Philomena. As of the pay period, you should be able to go in and be able to add charges, be able to create a new time card and add charges.
I did it 10 minutes before I came here, so.
She just
And you didn't have, she just did it right before the meeting.
Right before the meeting.
Dude, you're too fast.
I did it right before the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
David, one more question.
Questions?
Will there be a phone app, a new phone app?
Ooh, great question. Phone apps, no. Not for...
No. Great question, no.
However, I want to show you something cool. If you take this address and put it into your phone, you can use your phone just like we did with the computer.
All right.
If you have a smartphone.
If you, yeah, I can't help you if you got a.
like the
Sorry.
You have a flip phone, it doesn't work.
Flip phone doesn't work.
I will say Windows mobile phones, if you still have one of those, they do work. I personally use those. I've used Android and iPhone all work. So I recommend using Google Chrome as your browser of choice if you can. That seems to work the best. Even on your mobile device, I would still recommend Chrome as your browser of choice for the Deltek time and expense system. Firefox and Explorer do work. I'm not saying you can't, but I've found that Chrome works the best.
Use Chrome?
On the base?
Actually, I use Netscape.
I use Netscape, it works perfect, so.
All right. Any other questions regarding timesheets?
Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, Google Chrome could be an issue with NMCI over at the base. They're recommending Internet Explorer for us, especially all the problems that we're having there with limitations and configuration changes.
Sure. And that's fine. You can use Internet Explorer. It does work for Edge, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari. It works on all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Second floor is all set, Dave.
All right, perfect. Right then, if we have no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the employee video.